This might be the ultimate weeknight recipe. Quick, easy, and it comes together in just about 30 minutes. Today we're making pepper beef stir fry. I'm all for these quick and easy weeknight meals, and this one is definitely one of my favorites. It comes together super quick on the griddle and takes just a handful of ingredients that you probably already have at the house. So let's get started, and let me show you guys how to make it. I'm gonna get started on my veggie prep first. Let's move the meat out of the way, and you can really use any vegetables that you have. I have a yellow bell pepper, red bell pepper, and a yellow onion. So let's start cutting these guys up. Anytime that I'm doing a stir fry like this, I like to keep the pieces a little bit bigger. Next, cut it into these wider strips and then into smaller pieces. So this is kind of what you're going for. I like making these a little bit bigger because then you get more surface area for the sauce to coat the veggies and just more flavor in the final dish. So we've got the yellow pepper. I'm gonna do the same thing with this red one. And finally, I've got my yellow onion. So give it the same treatment, cut off the top, split it in half. Next, cut it into these thicker slices, and then into smaller pieces, roughly the same size as our bell pepper. Next, I'm gonna put all my veggies into this bowl, put this off to the side, and we'll get started on the meat and on the marinade, or the sauce. So that's really kind of the key to this whole recipe, is the sauce, which has all that flavor and is absolutely delicious. For my beef, I've got 1 pound of these beef stir-fry strips. This is what my local store has. You can use really anything here. You can buy a whole steak and cut it up into smaller pieces. A lot of times, these stir-fry cuts will be less expensive. So like these are kind of like this, little smaller strips. I'm gonna cut them up into smaller bite-sized pieces, but you can buy these in strips, in cubes, really depending what your store has. I'm gonna lay these guys out and then just cut them into smaller bite-sized pieces, just like this. As you can see, this stir-fry meat is pretty lean, so cutting it down into these smaller bite-sized pieces will give you a much better mouthfeel and a more tender bite in the final dish. Next, I'm gonna put my meat into a bowl and we can get started on the marinade. First up, we've got cornstarch. This will help crisp the beef up once it goes on the griddle. So I'm gonna go with about 2 teaspoons. Next up, I've got some soy sauce right into the bowl, about 2 tablespoons or so. Oyster sauce is next. I'm also gonna go in with about 2 tablespoons. Little rice vinegar. This is gonna add some of the tanginess, about 1 tablespoon. See, it's super easy. You don't even need to measure these. Just kind of put everything into the bowl and it's going to be delicious. Bachan's Japanese barbecue sauce for that mix of sweet and savory. Also about 2 tablespoons. And since this is a pepper beef stir fry, I'm gonna go pretty heavy with some freshly ground black pepper. So this is kind of what we've got there. You know, just mix everything together, making sure it's well combined with that cornstarch and all these liquids. After everything is all mixed and combined, I'm gonna put this in the fridge for about 30 to 45 minutes just to let everything marinate, and I'm gonna go fire up the griddle. I'm gonna be cooking this on my Weber Slate 30-inch griddle. Let's get this guy going. Got my caddy with all the seasonings and olive oil. If you haven't seen my griddle review video, be sure to check that out. I go over all the features, like this awesome caddy for the Slate. So anytime that I'm doing a stir fry, I like to go high heat. So let's get this guy turned on. All 3 burners on high. And then I'm just gonna give it maybe 5-10 minutes to preheat, making sure that cooked up is nice and hot before we put our food on. Griddle is nice and hot, so I'm gonna go in with a little olive oil first. Just spread that out. Peppers and onions go first. I'm gonna season these guys up with my all-purpose rub, so right on the griddle, just to give it some extra flavor. Okay, and then just mix it all up. Anytime I do a stir fry, I like to start with the peppers and onions first and just cook them until they soften up. You don't want to overcook them, get them too mushy. I still like to have a little bit of a bite and crunch to my veggies, but this will take about 5-7 minutes or so, just long enough until they start to get soft. All right, peppers and onions are softening up. They have this beautiful color. starting to char up a little bit on the griddle, so it's time to drop in our beef. So this is gonna go on the right side of the griddle over high heat with the sauce. Just drop everything in. Oh yeah. And then just spread it out to help it sear on all sides. Because this beef is cut down into smaller pieces, it'll cook super fast. So just give it a flip, scrape the griddle a little bit, get all that flavor from the bottom. You can also make this inside in a cast iron skillet. Really doesn't matter. I like doing it outside just because I can do all of it on the griddle. See, that sauce is thickening up. That's from that cornstarch, getting that beautiful color on the outside. After the beef is seared, turn the burners down to low. And now I'm gonna mix everything together, the veggies with our beef. And I combine that delicious sauce. And the last step, after everything is mixed together, I'm just gonna add a big tablespoon of minced garlic. I like adding this at the very end, so that way the garlic won't burn and you get that really good garlicky flavor throughout the stir fry. And after about, I don't know, 2-3 minutes, our stir fry is ready. So pull this off into a separate bowl. Smells so good, that sauce, the veggies. Beef and veggies are done, so I'm gonna let these guys rest for about 5 minutes. And we can get started on the rice. And to keep it even easier, I'm gonna use this Ben's Ready rice. This takes, what, 90 seconds in the microwave, and rice is ready. While the beef is resting, let me show you guys how I like to clean the griddle. Since we were cooking that beef in that sauce, it was a little sugary, a little sweet. It did get caked up on the cooktop. So first, turn the burners off and just let it cool down a little bit. I like to clean it while it's still warm, but not super hot. And first, you can use a spatula, or I have the scraper, and just scrape whatever you can. See, look how nicely, how easily this comes off. Just right from the bottom, all right? Just like that. The longer you let it sit, the harder it's gonna be to remove. So like I said, it's always easiest to do it while the griddle is still warm. Okay, and that is pretty much it. If there was still any more residue on the cooktop, you can add a little bit of water and a paper towel to just scrape it clean. But this looks really good. So before I close this up, I like to add just a little bit of oil and then just spread that across the cooktop to sort of season it and get it ready for the next time. Even though these sleigh griddles, don't really need to be seasoned because of the cooktop material, I always like to add just a little bit of oil to help maintain those kind of non-stick properties. There we go. See? It's good as new and ready to go for next time. All right, last thing to do is to assemble everything. So I'm gonna go with my rice first. Next, we've got our delicious beef and pepper. So these have been resting for about 10 minutes. They smell absolutely amazing. So just plate that up right over that rice. And for the garnish, I'm gonna go with some toasted sesame seeds first and some green onions. That looks and smells absolutely amazing. And now we can try this out. It smells and looks so good. I want to try to get a little bit of everything on your fork. We got the rice, the veggies, the beef. Oh yeah, super flavorful. Has that nice kind of peppery kick, but it's not too overpowering. The veggies still have a little bit of a crisp to them. This is so easy to make. Comes together in, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes or so. It's the perfect mix of that kind of sweet, savory, has that umami flavor, a little tanginess from that rice vinegar, and that beef has that nice crust from searing on the hot griddle. Yeah, this is really good. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to get all the notifications, and I will see you next time.